Hello, good morning. This is 3FM 92.7, your election command center. My name is Beatrice Edu. We are going to be bringing you the filing of nomination forms for presidential candidate for this year's general election from the Electoral Commission's headquarters. The flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who is also the vice president of the country, we understand, has already filed his nomination. Also, other political parties are also there to file their nomination. We'll be crossing over to the Electoral Commission headquarters to be bringing you an update as regards what's happening there. This is your election command center. My name is Beatrice Edu. Shortly, AJ will be joining us with a 3 Lounge. Remember that we have just about 89 days to December 7, the day we will be going to vote, select a president and parliamentary representatives.
It's 89 days to election 2024. The general election is not a do-or-die affair. Vote once and return home peacefully.
Indeed, it's not a do-or-die affair. Vote once, return home safely.
Your election command center.
We have no doubt transparent, fair and peaceful. Additionally, we are confident that the 5-day period provided for the filing process, as opposed to the 2-day quick process prior to 2020, will allow enough time for presidential candidates to correct errors identified in their forms. We are confident that this will eliminate the tensions and rancor that characterize the filing process prior to the 2020 election. Once again, I warmly welcome all of you to the Electoral Commission this morning, and thank you, Mr. Vice President, for coming in person to submit your nomination forms. As a returning officer for the 2024 general election, I will now receive your forms. The forms will be subjected to vetting and scrutiny by our team. I assure you that our teams will go to where you on the forms and we will contact you within the shortest possible time to inform you of the decision arrival. To be fair and yet fair in executing their business. We have no doubt, ladies and gentlemen, that the process will be transparent, fair, and peaceful. Additionally, we are confident that the 5-day period provided for the filing process, as opposed to the 2-day quick process prior to 2020, will allow enough time for presidential candidates to correct errors identified in their forms. We are confident that this will eliminate the tensions and rancor that characterize the filing process prior to the 2020 election. Once again, I want to welcome all of you to the Electoral Commission this morning, and thank you, Mr. Vice President, for coming in person to submit your nomination forms. Indeed, this is the first time the sitting Vice President has personally presented his nomination forms to the Electoral Commission. It is therefore important to receive you this morning. Indeed, this is the day our Father God has made, and we rejoice and we are glad in it. We thank the Almighty for making it possible for us to gather here this morning. This morning, we are here to kickstart one of the most important processes in the lead up to the 2024 general elections. Indeed, without this process, the Commission cannot run the election. And here I'm referring to the filing of nominations by presidential candidates who are seeking to contest the 2024 presidential election. Regulation 7, or CI 127, enjoins the presidential candidates to complete and sign 4 copies of the nomination forms. Additionally, the forms are to be signed by
This is 3FM 92.7, your election command center. You just heard there the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Jean Mensa, acknowledging receipt of the nomination forms as given or filed by the flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. She went on to say that she is confident the days given the political parties are enough to help them correct errors. We're bringing you a coverage of the filing of a nomination by political parties that we just brought you updates there of the Vice President and the flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party filing his nomination at the Electoral Commission. Remember that the EC gave them up to the 13th of this month. Today is the 9th. Bawumia has done his. We understand that Kofi Akpalu of the LPG is also there filing his. Cheddar Nana Kwame Bediako of the New Force movement is also there to file his nomination. We also do understand that later this afternoon, the flag bearer of the opposition NDC and former President John Mahama around 2 p.m. will also be filing his at the headquarters of the Electoral Commission. I'm joined in the studio now by Sisters Dawn Olo. Sisters, just take us through really the processes of this.
Well, Beatrice, this is not new to a lot of the people who have been following politics in our land. We know that at least starting from 2016, when the processes became very accessible to everyone, we saw how the filing went and how some people were disqualified in the process, and eventually some even went to court. I think it was in 2020 election that Parkwesi Ndum went to court.
But
Yes.
we have had 2 major election petitions, as you're aware, 2012,
Yes.
2013, and then the 2021.
Exactly.
The judges were gracious enough to ensure 2020 was very short.
Exactly. But this is one of the significant steps that a lot of people don't really pay attention to. And people keep asking, especially in the 2016 one, the question was asked, what if the NPP candidate or the NDC candidate had been disqualified? Now, if you go through the Constitution, Article 62 of the Constitution talks about qualifications of a person to becoming a president of the Republic of Ghana. And I'll just quickly run through that. It says that the person must first of all be a citizen by birth. Now, you would know that there are other means of acquiring citizenship of Ghana, maybe through marriage. You could naturalize. But in this case, the Constitution requires that before you can become president of Ghana, you must first of all have been born a Ghanaian. If you are not born a Ghanaian, constitutionally, you are disqualified. The second thing the Constitution looks at is your age, whether you have attained the age of 40. And there was a campaign in this country some time ago asking why an 18-year-old could vote, was qualified to vote
but
for MP, but cannot stand to be elected as president of the Republic. And the question has been asked again whether the 40-year-olds are more skillful or more leadership-oriented than the 30-year-olds, for instance. Are we saying that there are no people, 30-year-olds in the country today who can lead this country better than we are seeing the 70-year-olds and the 80-year-olds do? And if you go through our history, it's always been the older ones. Jerry Rawlings was probably the misnomer, the outlier. Then even John Mahama at the time that he became president.
50 plus.
Plus.
Yeah.
So you see that, I mean, he was still not really within the brackets of the young people.
He wasn't even mid-50s, yeah.
No, he had not been. And so the question has been asked whether, again, the Constitution has been fair to the young people of Ghana. But, well, that also will go back to ask whether at the time that the Constitution was being drawn up, the young people were fairly represented in the consultative assembly. Now, the Constitution also talks about the third thing, whether you are qualified to be elected a member of parliament. So first of all, you should have been born a Ghanaian. You should have attained the age of 40, number 2. And number 3, you should have been qualified to be elected a member of parliament, except that the disqualifications set out in paragraphs C, D, and E of clause 2 of Article 94, which talks about the qualification for members of parliament in respect of any such person by a presidential pardon or by lapse of time as has been provided for in clause 5 of that article. So for us to understand this, we would have to go to Article 94. And Article 94 talks about the qualifications of a member of parliament. And it says that the person has to be a citizen of Ghana, has attained the age of 21 years, and is a registered voter. So for you, in addition to the first two that we mentioned, Ghanaian by birth, age of 40, you should also have been a registered voter. You should have been a registered voter. You should have been resident in the constituency for which he stands as a candidate for election to parliament. So this strictly applies to members of parliament, people vying for members of parliament. But because the Constitution talks about you attaining the qualification to be elected as member of parliament, that is why we are going through this.
And
those
that's
are some
like
of the
21.
things that...
The age increases from the 18 to 21.
To 21. And that also means that you should have an identifiable constituency within the country. So normally you would find that all these people, the last time former President Mahama had to go back to Bole to vote. President Akufo-Addo had to go to his constituency to vote. You normally would find all of them going back to their home constituencies to vote. That satisfies this particular provision. And it tells us that they are identified with specific constituencies. And the Constitution also talks about payment of taxes, that you have either paid up all your taxes or you have made arrangements satisfactory to the appropriate authority for the payment of taxes. So if you want to be president of Ghana, you should have demonstrated that, number one, you have paid your taxes from whenever up to date. If you have not been able to satisfy that particular provision, then you should also be able to demonstrate that at the point of filing your nomination to become president or to contest to become president of Ghana, you have satisfied all the conditions, the processes laid out by the tax authority, in this case, the Ghana Revenue Authority, to ensure that your taxes are paid up to date. That is, if you haven't paid at all. Again, the Constitution under Article 94 says that you shall not be qualified to be a member of Parliament if you owe allegiance to any other country other than Ghana. The question of dual citizenship has come up time and again.
Asin
North is a very recent one. Jechi Kwesin. I think there was one also against
that's the Jomoro area.
The Jomoro area, the
yes.
Jomoro MP actually. The lady, Foley, is it Foley? Okay, we can easily pull that up. So those are the recent examples that we have. And for all those of us who followed the Jechi Kwesin case, which traveled from the High Court all the way up to the Supreme Court, it answers this particular provision that you must be a citizen of Ghana and you must answer only to Ghana. There shouldn't be a case where you are a citizen of Ghana by birth, you hold citizenship of the US, of Canada, in some cases Burkina Faso, as we saw in the Jomoro case.
So her name is Dorcas Afo Tofi.
Dorcas, the Honorable Dorcas Afo Tofi, yes, who also went to court on same charges. Also under Article 94 of the 1992 Constitution, you should not also have been adjudged or otherwise declared bankrupt under any law in force in Ghana. Now, even in management of businesses, if you have been declared bankrupt in this country, you will not be allowed into any business management position, company management position. You will not be allowed into. The law actually bars you. How much more a whole country? So this particular provision actually makes a lot of sense, and that you should not be found to be unsound mind or is detained as a criminal lunatic under any law in Ghana. And this provision has come under so much scrutiny. I mean, at the point that the persons are filing their nominations, there's nothing in the system that says go for a psychiatric check or bring a report from your psychiatrist to show that everything is okay up there. I have even heard radio and TV commentaries that have questioned whether a lot of the leaders we have seen, the political leaders we have seen, they have not actually failed this test if we had to take them through the test. But it's one of the things that we should be looking out for, and the Electoral Commission should have an opportunity to be able to. And it's a long provision that we have seen talking about whether you are not under a death sentence or you have not been imprisoned or a term of imprisonment imposed on you by a court, whether you are qualified to be registered as a voter, whether there's any law that has disqualified you from voting and all of that, whether you have been convicted of a high crime under the Constitution. So there are three offenses here: high crime, treason, high treason, or treason. And then whether also three other keywords that we keep asking about: fraud, dishonesty, moral turpitude. Now, fraud, dishonesty are legal concepts. They are questions of law.
Indeed.
But the moral uprightness is how do we judge that? How do we judge that?
You're still here on 3FM 92.7. This is your Election Command Center. We're bringing you a coverage of the filing of nominations by political parties. The Vice President and flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has already filed his, we understand, Cheddar Nana Kwame Bediako of the New Force Movement is there to also file his. He's already addressed the press after filing it, and we'll be bringing you exactly what he said. LPG, represented by Kofi Akpalu, is also there to file his nomination. We'll bring you all the action on the ground, as well as connect to our reporter who is covering this event for us. But now we're having a conversation about the constitutional processes before we get to December 7. And Sisters Donwolo is taking us through the constitutional provisions there. Sisters, you were making a point earlier about qualifications ahead of this very process.
Yes. So all the provisions that I have read from the Constitution, and there's actually more, but the key ones to watch out for, Articles 63 and 94. That is where those provisions are. Now, the Electoral Commission, after receiving all these nomination forms from the various candidates, will then go through these checklists to see whether everything is okay with you as per the Constitution. And remember, there's also a provision I read out, whether the person has not been disqualified under any other law.
That's where the EC
That is
shows
where
its
the
power,
EC
actually.
will also then say that, okay, you are qualified by birth, by age, you have filed all your tax returns and every other thing, but based on this other law, and the law should have already been in existence. So the EC cannot just unilaterally bring up a law from anywhere to disqualify anybody. The law should have been in operation at the point of filing. So based on that, the Electoral Commission will then check the boxes and say that 1, 2, 3 persons have filed their nominations, but from our checks, only 1, 2 have been cleared by our laws or under our laws to go ahead to contest the elections. And that is why in 2016, we saw, I think, about 12 presidential candidates had been disqualified, if you recall that story. And that was about the first time or so we saw that thing happen, about 12 presidential...
You mean the 2012?
In
2016, actually.
2016, yes.
Yes.
I beg your pardon. 2016. That was when former First Lady
Konadu
Agyeman Rawlings of the NDP had been disqualified. And her disqualification was because she had failed to meet the deadline in filing her forms.
Was it the same period Hassan Ayariga also got disqualified?
Let me try to run
forgiven the Electoral Commission.
Let me try to run through some of the list for you. So in that election, we had John Dramani Mahama of the NDC cleared, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo cleared of the NPP, Ivor Kobna Greenstreet of the CPP cleared, and the independent candidate at the time, Jacob Osei-Yeboah, had also been cleared. But we had Nana Konadu Agyeman Rawlings, the GCPP at the time also had been disqualified. The Hassan Ayariga is APC. So, and then the PPP.
Yes, of Dr.
Indum, yes. So that was what set the precedent for us, that we saw that people had actually been disqualified from contesting the election. And from then we had seen another disqualifications, which actually eventually went to court. So the Electoral Commission, at the end of the day, can disqualify some people.
Indeed. This is your Election Command Center. You're seeing on your screens, if you're watching us on Facebook, Nana Kwame Bediako, popularly called Cheddar, entering the office of the Electoral Commission, obviously to file his nomination. You're seeing him shaking the hands of the EC boss, Jean Mensa. There's a woman with him. I don't know whether that's the wife. Sisters, do you know her?
No, but if the optics are anything to go by, then we can guess, and rightly so, that is the wife.
All right, so let's cross over to the venue now. Daniel Opoku is covering this for us. He joins us live on the line. Daniel, just bring us up to speed as regards what's happening within the headquarters of the Electoral Commission. Hello, Daniel, can you hear us? We actually understand you are the NPP headquarters. Tell us what you can see. Hello, Daniel Opoku. We'll have to call him back. This is your Election Command Center, 3FM 92.7. We're bringing you a coverage of the filing of nominations by political parties. The Vice President and flag bearer of the NPP has filed his. We understand Cheddar of the New Force movement has also filed his. We'll bring you exactly what he told the press after doing so shortly. Kofi Akpalu of the LPG is also there to file his nomination. Shortly, we should be crossing over to our correspondent, Daniel Opoku, who is following all of that. If you're watching us on Facebook, you're seeing Kofi Akpalu of the LPG there. Let's listen to him.
Winning the elections? Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm winning the elections. Nothing will stop that. Yeah, forget about the numerical strength of the MPP and the NDC. This election is going to be different, and I'm believing God that it's going to surprise everybody. And it's something that Ghanaians will not understand. Yeah, for years to come. It will take them years for them to understand what has actually happened. Because I'm going to win this election. I'll win it hands down.
The MPP and the NDC, they have a lot of voters behind them. Beyond the voters, what other strategies do you have to win?
I have a lot of voters, more than you can see. You know, we have more voters than them. They are just displaying people, moving one set of people from here to the other. They are just recycling them. That's why you think they have numbers. No. Let's wait till the election day and let's see what comes out.
From here, what next for you?
We are going on a campaign. So make sure we move straight to campaign grounds and do the work and do it well.
All the best, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So you just had the Kofi Akpalu. You just had the Kofi Akpalu of the LPG. You heard him. He says he's going to win this year's general election, and it will take Ghanaians a lot of years to understand because they will be surprised. So that was earlier at the corporate office of the Electoral Commission. Let's connect to Daniel Opoku, who is at the headquarters of the governing New Patriotic Party. Daniel, if you can hear us, tell us what's happening there.
Right, good morning to you, Beatrice.
Good morning, Daniel. We can hear you.
Right, I'm currently at the party headquarters, and earlier this morning, the Vice President, together with his running mate, both of them were at the offices of the Electoral Commission to file his nominations. And actually, they have been able to satisfy all the requirements needed by the Electoral Commission. And the chairperson of the Electoral Commission says that the technical team has been set up to go through the documents and vet the documents. In case they have a five-day period for them to go through the required document. When there are errors, they will get back to the team or the vice president to get the errors corrected. And right after that, currently he is at the party headquarters waiting to address the media and the entire party people who have currently gathered in here at the party headquarters.
What's the atmosphere like? I mean, just take us through from where he filed the nomination till now.
You have a lot of party people. You could hear at the background actually when they are singing the party national anthem as I speak to you currently. The mood is quite interesting. You have a lot of people, a lot of the party people who are really enjoying. They are just jumping up and down, seeing the vice president, also the running mates, and they're very confident that this year's elections they are going to. The mood at the party headquarters is very tight, and basically that.
I can imagine that the place is filled with supporters and in party paraphernalia, as it were.
Is that rightly so, Beatrice? And there are people also who are cashing in as I speak to you. There are people who have set up their things to be selling. They are selling party paraphernalia. They are also setting party souvenirs to people who express interest to buy them. And basically, they have blocked the two entrances to the main party headquarters. When you come from, when you use the Nima Road is turning eastward towards the party head office. Right side, the entrance has been blocked, and also the western part of the party head office has also been blocked, just making way for only the party people to use that particular stretch. A lot of people are still coming in. Others are using motorcades. Others also are using other things to work into the party because they're basically waiting to listen to what the vice president will be telling them, and also what the flag bearer will be telling them, including other party executives who are in here guarded.
Indeed. And before you go, Daniel, at the headquarters of the Electoral Commission, actually within the office where they submitted the forms, we saw Fred Oware, who is part of the campaign team for Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. We, of course, also saw the wife of the vice president and the flag bearer of the party. We saw the General Secretary, Justin Kodia Frimpong, as well. Can you tell us the kind of personalities or executives who are currently surrounding the vice president within the headquarters of the NPP?
Yeah, the party, the campaign chairman, Dambuki, was also present. They also have Dr. Cabinet J. Japan, also part of the team. They have the Minister of Interior, Henry Koto, was present. The Greater Accra Regional Minister, Titus Global, was also present. Have Freddie Blade, the former party chairperson, was also present. Then the majority leader in Parliament, Afena Markin, was also present, including the Chief of Staff, Madam Prima Sopar. All of them joined the Vice President to present his nomination forms to the Electoral Commission. And the Electoral Commissioner to have Dr. Bosman Asari and another technical person to join her to receive the nomination form. So a whole lot of party hosts, the party functionaries, the frontline party functionaries, were those who backed the vice president or the flag bearer to present his nominations form this morning.
Daniel, finally from me, is this a rally, just some clarification there, or it is just a press conference from the flag bearer that we're waiting for?
BJ, this is not a press conference. Earlier they had communicated that we're going to have a press conference, but this is not a press conference. This is more of a rally kind of an engagement that they're going to have with both the party people and also the media houses which have gathered in here. If you really know the party headquarters very well, right, and the center of the party headquarters where they have set up their very big days. And when we stand on the days, on your left-hand side, they have set up another days where the party executives, the flag bearer and his running mates and their spouses will be sitting under the day. So this is not a press conference. Ideally, in a press conference, you have them in a room actually addressing only the media. But unfortunately, this is a very big rally that they are going to address the entire party people and the media as well.
Thank you very much, Daniel Opoku. We'll come back to you.
Very well.
This is True FM 92.7, your election command center. Our coverage of the filing of nominations by political parties at the Electoral Commission headquarters. If you're watching us on Facebook, we're showing you visuals of Cheddar when he arrived there. We can see his forms given to perhaps the rep of the EC. We see him going through. But like I told you earlier, he's already filed that, so these are earlier visuals we took of him. We'll be bringing you exactly what he told the press after filing his nomination forms. We have our man Noble Crosby Annan, who is stationed at the Electoral Commission headquarters, covering all the events for us. He joins us live on the line. Crosby, tell us really what's been happening since morning.
Well, it's been a very busy day at the headquarters of the of the Electoral Commission, and this has to do with the submitting of the forms by the presidential candidates. So far, the MPP's Dr. Bawumia has been here to submit his forms. We've also seen the LPG have submitted their forms. Ghana Union Movement was also here, as well as independent candidates and Kwame Bediako. He came in the company of his wife to submit their nomination form.
Sorry to interrupt, Crosby. Your voice is a bit low. If you could kindly speak up for us to hear you clearly. Okay, we just lost him there. This is 3FM 92.7. We're bringing you a coverage of the filing of nomination by political parties. Crosby, Noble Crosby Annan is covering this for us from the headquarters of the Electoral Commission. Crosby, you're telling us that it's been a busy day. Just run us through what has happened so far.
Right, Victory. So, like I was saying earlier, so far we've had the MPP's Dr. Bawumia submit his forms. He was in the company of some leaders of the party, including the chairman and the secretary of the NPP. We've also seen the LPG come to submit their forms, as well as the LPG, the presidential candidate Kofi Akpaloo was here himself in the company of some other executives of the party. The Ghana Union Movement, they've also been here. They represented, as in the presidential candidate was represented by some other party officials to submit the forms to the Electoral Commission. And then Kwame Bediako Cheddar has also been here, the independent candidates. They've gone through the process, and they're all very confident of a free and fair elections by the Electoral Commission. So far, that is what has happened. The chairperson of the commission, who will be the returning officer for the elections, while receiving their forms, assured them that the committee would investigate, scrutinize their forms, and then we'll get back to them if there's a need for any corrections to be made, Beatrice.
Yes, earlier we also heard Kofi Akpaloo there saying that he was confident he was going to win this year's general election. But can you tell us what Cheddar said, if he said anything at all?
Well, Cheddar is also confident of victory. He, in fact, is pleased that Ghana's democracy has matured to a point where he is able to submit his nomination forms to contest to become president of the country.
I want you to hold on, Crosby. Let's hear him. Hold on.
Has stepped forward to be a part of the national governance. Well, I just want to first of all thank Ghanaians and thank all of you for even witness this moment, but it's a historic moment. It's the first time people of our generation has stepped forward to be a part of the national governance. And I thank God to be one of the people who have started this whole movement, making sure that people of our age, people that belong to the youth sector, finally are part of this movement and national governance of this country.
How's the campaign going? What's the feedback on the ground?
The campaign is good, and I must say that Ghanaians have been very much embracing. I am proud to be a Ghanaian, and I feel good to stand for the people of this nation. I know that we can build a better country by us, from us, and therefore I want to say that it's not just going to take the campaign to make this, but it's going to take the people of this country to decide and make this a better place.
One of the requirements in the form is for you to name your vice president. Would you tell us who this person is?
I would when the time is right. Like you always know, we unveil. So don't worry. Keep waiting. When the mask comes off, you will see that one.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
you.
3FM 92.7. 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 3FM And you had the leader of the movement, Free the New Force. That was.
You want to change the name of the group? I
don't know why Alan's group just came to mind. I mean, Alan must be very happy.
Alan has not even shown up yet. You're already rooting for him. This one is a new force.
Yes,
it's called New Force. Say
yes.
after me,
Nana
New
Kwame.
Force. The New Force.
Nana Kwame Bediako, yes. You just heard him there. Very privileged to have had the opportunity to even encounter this moment. Let's see whether Crosby is still on the line with us just to tell us what's happening there. Crosby, just give us a wrap really at this moment. What's happening there?
Well, at the moment, we're waiting for some other candidates to come and submit their forms. On the bill today, Samuel Appiah-Danquah, another independent candidate, Mordecai Athumbiani is also expected to be here. There's also the NDC, they are also expected to be here somewhere around 2 p.m. And ending today would be Nana Inimyama, also expected to be here. And Inimyama will be for the PAG, NDC, Josephine Barima Adu, an independent candidate. APC will be represented by Mordecai Athumbiani, and then Samuel Appiah-Danquah, an independent candidate, all expected to come to the headquarters of the Electoral Commission.
Crosby, please run us through the number again. How many have submitted so far, and how many are we expecting before the end of the day?
So, Beatrice, so far the NPP has submitted their form. The LPG, Ghana Union Movement, Nana Kwame Asare, Bediako, 4 individuals have so far submitted their nomination forms at the headquarters of the Electoral Commission. Yet to come, we expect Samuel Appiah-Danquah, an independent candidate, APC, Josephine Barima Adu, and then the NDC also expected to be here today to submit their nomination forms, as well as the PAG.
Thank you very much, Noble Crosby Annan. Noble Crosby Annan is our correspondent covering this event for us. He's stationed at the Electoral Commission. He'll be bringing us all the information coming from there as these candidates or nominees for the presidential slot file their nominations. And we are here to bring you the details.
The National Communication Director for Ghana Union Movement. Good morning, Chair. My name is Frank Owusu-Frimpong, the National Communication Director for Ghana Union Movement. We are here to present the nomination of our candidate. And with me is Ni Odoelai. He is the chairman for the Council of Elders. The next is Benjamin Teteyemo, the national organizer. Next to him is Uthman Hafiz. He is the Greater Accra Regional Chairman. The next is Mr. Raymond Kumoji, the Administrative Secretary for the GUM office, head office. And the next to him is Mrs. Catherine. She is the personal assistant for the presidential candidate. And on my immediate left is Anthony Kojo Ahemfo Gold, the General Secretary of Ghana Union Movement. Thank you.
Good morning once again. I am Anthony Gold Ahemfo, the General Secretary of Ghana Union Movement. We are here this morning to present all the requisite documents for the nomination of our presidential candidate, Christian Kwabena Andrews, who for some very important reasons is not here with us now. With me are the forms for those proposing his candidature. The passports or country-size pictures, a check of 100,000 Ghana cedis, tax clearance certificate for the presidential candidate, tax clearance certificate for the running mate, and a letter from the party endorsing his candidature. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tete, and a good morning to the General Secretary and your delegation from the Ghana Union Movement. On behalf of the Electoral Commission of Ghana, I warmly welcome you to the Commission this morning.
And you heard that full footage there, the representatives of GUM, led by Frank Owusu-Frimpong, submitting or filing the nomination for their presidential candidate.
Osofo Bosom. And you know, Beatrice, the Reverend Andrews, the full name is like Christian Kobina Andrews, he pulled a surprise in the last election. He's one of the people who showed everybody in the 2020 election that indeed Ghanaians were beginning to look away from the NDC and the NPP. I say this because he came out of nowhere, threw himself into the race, and even as a media person, I told this story off air and the guys were laughing at me. I said the first time I heard his name was from my mother.
Oh.
My mother called me one afternoon and was asking me, you keep talking to all these politicians on a daily basis. Why have you not spoken to my candidate? I'm like, who is your candidate? He said, Osofo Bosom. I said, are you serious? And you know, and when we started engaging him, you realized that he was very much present on the ground. And because of his church activities, you know, he has a TV station which he uses to propagate the word of God. So he had so much following at the time, which following actually did help him in the election.
Indeed.
And placed him at number 3.
Church members will not vote against their pastor.
Not at all. Not at all. And he also came preaching incrementalism.
Yeah.
You know, and somebody made a joke on Facebook the other time that if you want to win elections in Ghana, identify yourself with Kwame Nkrumah.
So you just saw there on your screens on Facebook, if you're watching us, they're finally submitting their nomination forms to the Electoral Commission boss, Jean Mensa.
Jean Mensa. So what we don't know is whether he's able to do what he did in 2020, whether he can replicate or even better that performance. He was number 3. I think he pulls 0.8% of the votes. Can he do that? Will he be able to do better than at least get 1% or 1.5% of the total vote count? Will he be able to do that? If we look at all the surveys that we have seen, and now, mind you, we have Cheddar in the mix, who seem to be doing what Osofo Bosom did in 2020. And now we see Cheddar also all over the place. And now again, we see Alan Chamating, who has the benefit of the organization of a political party, machinery of a political party. And so you see that the Alan campaign is moving in a very structured and organized manner.
Indeed.
Because of the kind of people he has around him and because of the experience that he himself has as a party person.
For this future can be built, not by foreigners, but by citizens of this country. And that alone gives me hope to be a Ghanaian. I'm proud to be one. I would also like to use this opportunity to thank you, Jane Mensa. This job is not just for a woman, but you have proven yourself that you're a woman with strength to lead a nation. For us to go through this moment, this election is a tough one.
And you heard there, Nana Kwame Bediako of the New Force. You're still here. This is our coverage of the filing of nominations by the presidential candidate or nominees. Stay with us. We are back very shortly.
#712#. Now join in the winning streak now.
The luckiest.
*712#.
Luck is everywhere. For everyone, yeah. The luckiest.
Best Brain Publication eye dwumaku a etintim adesua ho enwoma horo wonim dia efa enyemre mu adesua hyehye ho no ekron papa yenya daagye ede dwetire ahye adesua ene ne kiremu se de baabi ewiase ho besua kwankyere duro no obi nka akire ye wo subjects ahoro no nyina mu abemfo a woto won boase ye hwehwemu yie ansa na watwere nwoma.
Oh yeah, metibia
Juju, we are done now ye.
Me share my Best Brain book neso. And I'm see computer no.
That's my boy.
Ye nwoma nyina ejina fapem ensia bi so se wobenya adwene a emudo edi bibia obi enwene ho aba odisua ni no benya okandifo osu obeye omamba pa na dwene mu bebie edi ahwehwe ohaw ehumuaye obenya computer mu nimde amapa obetimi akeka ne ho akọ nipam ehunu sede ani afoforo so edi nkita ho wo preschool mekire emofra totofewan ye wo literacy numeracy phonics and writing mawon kindergarten so ye wo literacy numeracy our world our people creative arts phonics writing and the picture reading. A free basic 1 to 6, your mathematics, science, English, religious and moral education, creative arts, asante tree ni akwapim tree. Basic 6, 7, 8, and 9 so your mathematics, science, religious and moral education, social studies, creative arts, career technology, and computing. And so wow, your questions and answers. And my subjects ni nyina. Ya links and the QR codes. Oh, your books ni nyina emo. Enti de wiase nyina e krono. Yes your hobby. Obi ntumi nya ya chire kra. De koso wo wiase afa ba bia ya nisem enunti na Best Brain Publications ngoma no eba oba ana obusuani bia kwan mu a na wada nson no. Fra ho boyen. Fra yen 0507 200 200 ana 0504 200 300 and afi 0241 520 946. Yen email address bestbrainp@yahoo.com. Yen website www.bestbrainp.com. Best Brain Publications. Baby a enwumesua ni bechire ochena no. Yakura de ya hyase ne.
What other strategies do you have to win?
I have a lot of voters, more than you can see. You know, we have more voters than them. They are just displaying people moving one set of people from here to the other. They are just recycling them. That's why you think they have numbers. No. Let's wait till the election day and let's see what comes out.
Well, I just want to first of all thank Ghanaians and thank all of you for even witness this moment, but it's a historic moment. It's the first time people of our generation has stepped forward to be a part of the national governance. And I thank God to be one of the people who have started this whole movement, making sure that people of our age, people that belong to the youth sector, finally are part of this movement and national governance of this country.
How's the campaign going? What's the feedback on the ground?
The campaign is good, and I must say that Ghanaians have been very much embracing. I am proud to be a Ghanaian, and I feel good to stand for the people of this nation I know that we can build a better country by us, from us. And therefore, I want to say that it's not just going to take the campaign to make this, but it's going to take the people of this country to decide and make this a better place.
One of the requirements in the form is for you to name your vice president. Would you tell us who this person is?
I would when the time is right. Like you always know, we unveil. So don't worry. Keep waiting. When the mask comes off, you will see that one.
My name is Frank Owusu-Frimpong, the National Communication Director for Ghana Union Movement. We are here to present the nomination of our candidate. And with me is Ni Odoelai. He is the chairman for the Council of Elders. The next is Benjamin Teteyemo, the national organizer. Next to him is Uthman Hafiz. He is the Greater Accra Regional Chairman. The next is Mr. Raymond Kumoji, the Administrative Secretary for the GUM office, head office. And the next to him is Mrs. Catherine. She is the personal assistant for the presidential candidate. On my immediate left is Anthony Kojo Ahemfo Gold, the General Secretary of Ghana Union Movement. Thank you.
Madam Chairperson, Deputy Chairperson, Commissioners, and senior staff, elected coach, the senior team, supported by my wife, Sylvia, and my running spouse, chairman of the party, people staff, and leader of the party, and of course, our very able general secretary. I want to thank all of you for this morning. As has been said, all this, I believe, is because nothing really happens just by chance. I believe life and the things that we do are ordered by God Almighty. And so I want to thank God Almighty for this morning and for the opportunity. And for me, it is personally a very historic opportunity to submit these forms for the first time as a presidential candidate. I want to pray and ask that we all pray for God's blessings for our dear country, Ghana, because we are embarked on this process, which is an election, that these are part of the processes towards the December 7th election. And we need God to continue to bless our country. What we can do is to help lift our country. We don't want to tear down our country. And so it's very important that our country is uplifted after in this context, I believe that our prayers and our behaviors as we go through our conflict will be very, very important to ensure that this process is very peaceful. I believe also that we should bring in our policy. We need to be a very, very difficult talk. Very, probably the most difficult talk because wherever you go, you are either with the weak or people who not afford. So we want to pray that the good Lord strengthens them, gives them the wisdom, pray for the chairperson, deputies, and the staff, all the way to, the returning officers, the residing officers, all the staff who engage in this very difficult task. I believe that we will live up to the task. Historically, I think Ghana is in a very, very beautiful position as far as the conduct of the elections are concerned. And I believe that as a chair, your team will live up to it. And let's pray, continue to pray for God's blessings for the EC. I also pray for God's blessings for the New Patriotic Party, myself and my team, so that we will emerge victorious in this election. Every country which is peaceful, and that this process reinforces the democratic traditions of Ghana. We are very proud democracy, and we need to reinforce it and continue to improve. I want to thank you, Madam Chairperson, your team, for the kind and warm reception that we look forward to hearing from you. God bless you. Thank you very much.
And you had the flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party, who is also the Vice President of the country, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. He's proud of Ghana's democracy so far and believes that this electoral process would solidify our democracy. Earlier you heard again Cheddar Nana Kwame Bediakon of the New Force. You also heard Kofi Akpalu of the LPG. You heard the representatives of GUM. Let me remind you that the Vice President was there with running mate Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, former Energy Minister. We'll shortly be crossing over to the headquarters of the NPP, where we understand that the Vice President and flag bearer of the party, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, has already started addressing party faithful, supporters, the media.
And not for ourselves individually. We want to uplift Ghana and transform Ghana. And I believe we are going to do it. I want you all to get together with us and let's have a peaceful election. This election is about ideas. We are not going to enter this election to fight. It's only people without ideas, people who are empty, who will resort to fight. We have ideas. We are full of ideas, and we will fight all our ideas. We will not have violence in this election. Thank you very much. Let's go on to victory. Very much thank you.
We can hear you, Daniel. We just heard the Vice President and the flag bearer talking there. Tell us more about what he said earlier.
Hello?
Daniel, we can hear you. We just heard the flag bearer of the party ending his...
Basically trying to touch on what he did this morning by filing his nomination form, and also spoke about the idea that the party will be rolling out when he leaves power. So we are moving the country to a digital environment, to a digital age, and he believes that the party is sliding to victory. So people should go, legislators should go out and vote, and also communicate ideas of the party to everybody, for people to vote for him and his flag and his running mate.
What else should we expect? What else should we expect from there? And we've lost Daniel Opoku there, but he is at the NPP headquarters. We heard the vice president, the flag bearer of the party, the latter part of his speech where he said that this election is about ideas and not violence. And we heard Daniel Opoku trying to bring us up to speed as regards what the vice president and the flag bearer said earlier. And there will be a wrap for us as regards our coverage of the filing of nominations by the presidential candidates or nominees at the Electoral Commission headquarters. We may be back at 2 when the former president and flag bearer of the opposition NDC, John Mahama, also goes to the headquarters of the Electoral Commission to file his nomination. We understand it will be done on his behalf. My name is Beatrice Sedu. I did this with Sisters Don Wolo as well as Jane, my producers. Thank you so much for joining us and for supporting us. We're back at 12 with the midday news. Stay with us.